Awesome. So just a quick overview of what we're going to do today. We already did some introductions. I'll introduce myself in a second. We're going to discuss a bit of Playground's expense management features, hear from our special guest, Tammy Adamson. And we'll do a bit of a discussion and we'll take a deep dive into Playground's expense features and answer any questions you may have. Awesome. So I'm Benny. I'm here with the Playground team. I'm in charge of all our community events, partnerships, and just connecting with our providers, providing sessions like this to make sure everyone's getting the most out of Playground and feeling good. And Courtney?
I'm Courtney. Obviously we all know each other. I'm the family childcare expert over here at Playground. So I support you guys all the way through the life cycle of utilizing Playground, including support. So yay.
Very exciting. Oh, cool. That won't
Oh,
close
nice.
up. And
Little
just for those who may not be as familiar with Playground's founding story, I like to share it. Playground was founded by two brothers who made a software for their mom, who was a childcare director in California. It started off as a simple check-in and check-out software and has now evolved to become the full spectrum of childcare management software, from enrolling new families, your billing, your communication, your attendance, and even your expense management. We were featured in Forbes 30 last year, and we're very happy with the reviews that we have garnered from our community. Let me see. Oh, sorry about that. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Actually, let's see. So sorry about that. Before we get into a discussion, I just want to quickly take a look at Playground's expense management features for those who are not as familiar and are just starting out. And to do that, I'm going to take us directly into Playground. So this is the Playground admin dashboard. This is what you see as an administrator using Playground. You have all your students, you have all your billing, your paperwork, but you also have a section here with expenses. And there's two ways in Playground for you to track your expenses. You can either manually add them in, or you can automatically have them appear in Playground using your Playground spend card, is what we call it. So I'm just going to get into a quick showing of how it works. To manually add an expense, you're going to click here on add expense. You're going to record all the information of that expense, the merchant name, category. You can add a memo, and then you can also even add a classification. And I'll get into this a bit further in a second, but basically this is for you to differentiate what is purely a business expense, what is partially a business expense, and what applies to your time space usage. And so you'll add this in. I'm just going to add in my merchant name or target. I'm going to add a category. I want to call this equipment. I want to select the user if you have multiple staff members, and I want to say school or snacks, whatever you want it to be. And I want to call this percent business use and say 50%. And we'll get into that more in a second. You can add receipts onto these as well to actually capture the receipt in the moment you make a purchase. And as family childcare providers, like I showed you before, you have that ability to have a classification on your expenses. And so you have the ability to add a time space classification. And that means that, you might be familiar, you're able to write off the space you use in your home. So you can easily calculate that in Playground. You'll see this thing, this time space calculator. You click on here and you add the specifications of your program. So if you, for example, have a 4,000 square foot home and you have 1,500 square feet of that are used for childcare, and you regularly also store or use an additional 1,500 square feet. Whoops, sorry, that number is wrong. And you provide care for 40 hours a week, let's say. You do 10 hours a week outside of the actual program offerings of work, and you're closed for 2 weeks in a year. And when you're closed, you're still doing, 5 hours a week of work, or 5 hours. Yeah, you can save that in, and it's going to automatically calculate, or it's going to spit out your time space percentage. I'm just going to do that again for you to see because I X'd out. You can see here is hours dedicated to business per year, the percentage of time you're using for childcare, and percentage of your business, of your home being used for business. And this is what you will use for your end of your taxes for your time space calculations. You'll save that in, and that's automatically going to apply to any classification that you have labeled as time space. So that's method number one. And method number two is to automatically have them populate into Playground using your Playground spend cards. And you can easily create a card. These can be either physical, or virtual, meaning you're not going to receive one in the mail. If you click physical, we're going to mail you one to your house, and you can use this card to go to the store, make any purchase you might want, and it's going to appear in your Playground account. You can also use it to pay for utilities or any business-related expense. And when you do that, any expense you have will show up here in the section that doesn't have any populated. But if you go to Target and buy something online on Amazon, pay for your utilities, and you have enough money in your card to make that expense, that purchase, it's going to appear here automatically for you. So like you can see, this is actually a card you can use, and you can add into this card. You have to add funding in here. So you'll see you add a bank account to connect your card into, and you can add automatic deposits that automatically add balance into your card. So you can say anytime your card goes below $100, I want to add $1,000 into my card. And that way you can ensure you have cash in this card to make your business expenses. Okay, that's a brief overview of the card, a big feature. So one thing you're able to do is track your expenses. The second big thing you're able to do is actually report on your expenses. So you can go to this reports tab on Playground, and you can see expenses, and you can generate a report. There's two reports. Right now, we're only looking at one. This is expenses by category. And so I'm going to just go to the beginning of the year, January 1st, all the way until today. I'm going to generate this report, and I can easily see all my spending by category. And these are all of the categories within your Schedule C tax form. So it makes it really easy for you to keep this aligned with your taxes and keep you organized for when tax season comes around. There's a second expense that report that is not showing up here, but we also offer it. It's a profit and loss report. And the reason we have this is because with Playground, if you're collecting billing through Playground, you're able to track all your revenue. And if you're doing expenses, you can track all your business spending. So you're able to easily capture income and spending and populate your profit and loss statement as well. You can also track if you have staff hours and payroll in here. So it makes it really easy for you to capture a full picture of your finances. That's a brief summary. I'm curious if anyone has any questions before I continue. No, if not, I'll get a thumbs up. Are we looking good? Awesome. Okay, exciting. Great. A cool thing I want to announce is that pretty soon we're going to be launching mileage tracking as well. So as childcare businesses, you use your personal car probably for some business-related expenses. That could be going to the supermarket, driving your kids or other kids around, field trips, for example. So in Playground, pretty soon you're going to be able to add your vehicles in and log business trips or driving from, mile A to mile B. And you'll add those into Playground, and you can then use that calculation of how many miles you drove per year to also get a standard write-off for your taxes. And you will just multiply the amount of miles you drove by the standard mileage rate for that year. So that's also going to be done automatically in Playground. We'll make it very easy for you to make sure you're capturing or, getting that additional deduction for your business use of your car. And that should be coming out hopefully in the next weeks or, not too far away. So let me see. I'm missing the session. Here we go. So I'm very excited to introduce our guest speaker today. Tammy Adamson is, like she mentioned, a family childcare leader and veteran in the state of Iowa. And she has been using Playground for quite a bit and is pretty active on our expense management feature. So I'd love for you, Tammy, to, take the spotlight and share a bit of your experience.
I'm just going to put it out there to you. When I started my childcare business, I did it for my family. I worked at a childcare center, and then I went home and opened up my own. So my first love is the kids, and I'm like, I'll get that business stuff taken care of. Well, then March rolls around. Oh, crud, I still don't have all the tax stuff done. So I was a procrastinator, didn't like to do taxes. I still don't like to do them. So I'm really excited for this year because I just started using this expense account when like a month or two after I joined with Playground. So I'm praying that everything goes as well as I'm expecting it to. And I was a little leery, I will say that, when I first opened my card, because I'm like, they ask, for a bank account, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to give him my account number, And so my husband and I worked together. We decided to open up an account just for playground expenses and for the daycare. So that was a first step for us, even after 30 some years. That was a first step to take to open up their own account. So I like that feature because now I know that it's all right there. The money's right there. I can get it when I need it. My expenses, I use it every week when I go to the grocery store. I was just telling one of my parents, when I get to come home at the end of this grocery store, all I do is come back to the computer, shows that I went to Fairway, I spent X amount of dollars, it's in my grocery account, done. I'm like, perfect. That's what I need, something to just put it out there, put it on, and I don't have to worry about it. So I'm really excited about that part of it. My one thing that I have a hard time with, and I told Benny I'm working on it, is getting money set aside and put on the card. So it gives me a 3 to 5 day grace period or waiting period before my money is deposited on there. So I have to think ahead before I'm going to the store. Do I have enough money on there for the store? And is it going to be able to use it, because I've been to the local Fairway a couple of different times and it'll say unable to use your card, and I'm like, so I have to write a check, which is an okay thing too, but I like the card so much better. And I also told Benny I'm going to start this month with my utilities. I had never done that. And when I was talking to my FMC, I said to her something about it. And I thought, you know what, I should try to do that because I've not done that before. And I pay some of them online. I might as well try to use the expense card with it. So I'm going to try that. I hope that works for me too.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that experience. And Tammy, you mentioned you use the card for the grocery store. You're going to start potentially using it for utilities. Are there any business expenses that you haven't, that you're still thinking about using the card for?
I did use my card too for like if I had to purchase a new crib. So equipment I had purchased on there too, which I like that because I can order it online and just, use my card and it'll be right on there, which is great.
And so are you keeping now your business spending and your personal spending completely separate?
Yes.
Awesome. That's the goal. That's
the goal. Yes. So hopefully it all comes out right in the end.
Yeah. And the goal, with this whole expense feature is we should automatically help you pull reports. And when it comes around to actually sending the IRS your revenue, your spending, and you're ready to get a deduction as well, it's super easy for you to do that.
Yes.
We're always looking for feedback, and we're very happy, Tammy, that you're so active on it. So we welcome, anyone curious to get a little more.
I do like it.
That's awesome.
And I am willing, if somebody wants to ask me questions about it, I'm more than willing to answer them. It's been a lifesaver, I think, for me. It's less stress on my life now because I don't have to worry about all this business stuff that I was having to worry about before. Playground's been great for us. We love the sign in, sign out. That works fantastic. I love that I can send notes and everybody gets them. I don't have to make paper copies. I used to make newsletters that were paper copies. I don't have to do that anymore. I like that feature too. I'm working on getting all of my kids' enrollment information on. So my ones that have been here forever are slow to get their stuff on. The new ones are doing great at putting theirs on. So
awesome. We're very happy to have you. It sounds like you are, getting the benefits that we hope you would get out of Playground. And there's more stuff coming your way. There's always exciting stuff going on here. So we're happy to have you all.
Glad to hear about the mileage. That'll be great too.
Yeah, we're very excited for that one. So I wanted to kind of get in from here into a little discussion about, those who may not be using Playground's expense management features. What are you guys doing right now instead? How do you currently track your expenses?
I use childcare, which is
Okay.
the food program, but I'm not very good at it. So I wait till the end of the month or the end of the year and end up doing it all at once. So I haven't done anything for 2023 yet. So I'm hoping maybe I can start in Playground even though I didn't use it in 2023.
Yeah, I mean, you can manually add expenses in retroactively for the whole year.
I
Just
might
some
start it
backlog.
that way. That might be fun.
Yeah, and if you have any questions about backlogging, you and I can chat, Tiffany.
Hey, Jennifer, how about yourself? How do you currently do your expenses?
I add everything onto a Google spreadsheet.
Okay. So it sounds like you
Yeah.
have your own Playground workaround on your own. Like
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I haven't done previous years is kind of kept good track of receipts. So I like the feature that Playground has that you can add your receipt on there.
Mhm.
But I did have a question. When you're using the spend card and you add funds into it, are those funds available right away or you have to wait?
So like Tammy
Couple
said, there
days.
is a grace period for the funds to become available just because you're transferring from the bank into the card. I can
Oh, okay.
ask to see exactly what that grace period is because from Tammy, it sounds like it's 3 to 5 days. But I can confirm that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'll be honest, one of the reasons I chose Playground was because I really liked how you guys explained your expense feature when I was doing the demos. I demoed a lot of other programs, but I really fell in love with this one. And I'm finishing up my second month using it. I haven't gotten to use the expense feature just how I would want to, just because I kind of got stuck when I received my spend card. It's just that when I tried adding funds to it and I was sent the small amount of cents they sent to your account just to verify your bank account.
Mhm.
I received those transactions, but when I was inputting it into Playground, I did it in cents. And I later found out that I was supposed to do like whole numbers, I guess. And so it locked it. And I contacted support to see if they could help me. And they said they would reach back out. And it's probably been a month and I haven't heard anything. And I still am not using the expense feature. So when I saw that there was going to be a Zoom on this, I got very excited because I honestly have been so busy that I haven't been able to reach back out again to support to see how you guys
And
are
you're
going to
saying
help me
Playground
and how.
support.
Correct.
Yeah. Players.
Correct.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I kind of been stuck for a month, not being able to move forward using it just because
Totally makes
I
sense.
can't add
We
funds to
will
my
we will
account.
do investigations here. Courtney is our family childcare specialist, and we also have a stellar support team. So I'm gonna ask around about that case and see if I can get back to you.
Yeah.
If possible.
Yeah, because it's still asking me to verify my bank account, but like I said, even if I input whole numbers as I was explained that I was supposed to do, it's no longer working. I think what they told me was that basically since I did too many attempts, it blocked it, but I can't really do anything because I tried
Yep.
seeing if I can erase the account and restart, but I don't think I
Yeah,
can do
we'll
it on my
problem solve
end.
it, and we'll connect with you offline to
Yeah.
figure
Perfect,
that one
thank
out.
you.
Just
Yeah.
jotted your name down so that I make sure that I reach back out. Okay.
Perfect, thank
Awesome.
you.
So we talked a bit about how you guys currently track your expenses for those who, I mean, Tammy sounds like she's already using Playground. We have some other options, some Google Sheets. We have a bit of everything. I mean, Rebecca, you work with childcare providers day in and day out. What do you hear a lot of them using or doing?
A lot are still, just putting everything into their shoebox and, hopefully we'll get to it. I think Tiffany, you're saying yes. I think that happens a lot. Sometimes it's month by month, maybe it's an envelope type thing. But yeah, this has been a real game changer for programs to be able to have it linked up. And I just think it's scary to make the change, but I really see the benefits of how that really helps versus sorting through the shoebox type thing.
Yep.
So yeah.
I like to think of it as kind of like a one-touch rule where I made the expense. I went to the store, made my purchase. I'm just gonna add it into Playground, add my receipt, and I can forget about it. Instead of having to put it away in a shoebox and then a year later come back and try and remember what was that expense, how much was business related, how much was personal. You know, it gets, you know, after a year, everything gets kind of messy. So get it off your hands immediately, and you're gonna save a lot of time. 10 seconds now instead of 50 hours at the end of the year. Yeah. Awesome. So curious for those, I mean, Tiffany, maybe you can share your experience. How long does it currently take you to clean up your books at the end of the year?
It's like a full-time job. It's
For how long?
a lot of work because I throw my stuff into a basket and then I sort it by month and then I try and figure out what things are. It takes a really, really long time. And I've been open for, 15 years or so. And I did it by paper first and then I did kid care. And I'm terrible about doing stuff in the moment because I, have 2 jobs, own a business, go to school full time. I need something quick.
Yep.
And you
So
didn't
I'm
even
I'm
do the
excited,
postponement.
but it's very uh like Rebecca said, it's scary to change because what happens if it's not what you expect and then you have to go back and do it again. But I don't have that fear. I feel like Playground knows what they're doing. Um and I have good feelings about that. It's just me being fearful of change.
I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, forming a new habit is definitely not an overnight thing. You know, you gotta take the card with you in your wallet and go to the store and remember to pull it out and remember to pull it out and remember to pull it out. And pretty soon you'll see those things all populate into your Playground account. You'll snap a picture, add the receipt in, and you're done. And it's automatically captures your month, captures your expense. You can write a quick memo about what you spent, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said before, one touch, do it in that moment, and you're gonna save hours, weeks. You're gonna have a whole new full-time job opening in your schedule.
Right, right.
Time for sleep. Yes, my favorite.
Yes.
May I add something now that we're talking about in the moment? And
Absolutely.
I, as I've been using it the last 2 months, I noticed that I don't have the expense feature on the app mode, and in doing things in the moment, I just feel like it would be so much more beneficial to be able to snap pictures of those like expenses in the app versus having to go to the web mode. And I just feel like things are like smaller. I mean, you're doing things on your phone. Like my phone is like where I do a lot of my work, right? And I just wanted to input that just because I feel like
Yeah.
it would be great if we could have that in the app and not
Yeah,
have to go
we got that feedback
in the
throughout this.
web to do it.
We
I just
we
find it
definitely
a
want to
lot more
get that
difficult.
across to our team. I mean, I think that's a great idea as well. It's, you know, ideally you just go to the store and when you're in the store in your car, you take that photo and you upload the receipt and you're done. So
Right.
we're gonna get that to our engineering team to see if we can make that happen and what the time frame would be like, and we'll also let you know about that one. That's a great feature request.
Just for
Right.
clarification purposes here, if you have already created an expense, and I know this doesn't cover but just for the snapping pictures purposes of what you're talking about, you can always, if the expense has already been created, you can always add the receipt via the app. Are you saying
Oh.
expenses aren't showing up at all in your app? Like it's on the
Manually
side
adding
of
them.
an option?
I don't have an expense.
Okay, so then that's something that you
Yeah.
need to chat about. It should be showing up.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I'm noticing, I don't know if it's because I have a multi-site, but I don't have that expense thingy in my menu, and I also don't receive notifications. So that's been another big issue for me.
Okay.
But I do have
Funny.
2 centers that I'm
but
managing,
she's
so I
two
don't know.
centers. She has 2 locations, so it's different than anybody
Yeah.
else. All that's family childcare, just
Yeah,
letting you.
sorry. Yeah. So
You
I
know,
don't know
no
if
worries.
that's running into some hiccups, but yeah.
We'll
Totally
chat
fine.
offline about why it's not showing up. I can guarantee you it's just a little small detail of what we need to do.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, now we chatted a bit about, you know, I mean, I guess Tammy, this is the first year you're using Playground to manage your expenses. Before that, how long were you spending to clean up your books?
Oh, months. Like I said, I'm very procrastinate. I'm kind of like Tiffany. I have a basket. I threw everything in. March would roll around and I'd say to my husband, okay, we need to start working on this stuff, and I would spend hours upon hours. I don't even know how long it would take me. And then I would say, okay, you do this part, and make him go through the checkbook, look through, try to find extra expenses that we purchased that I had forgotten about. Maybe I purchased them in January. Now it's March of the next year, and I don't remember what I purchased for sure, So it was a nightmare and very stressful. So I love this. I love that I could, take a picture of the receipt and then it goes in and I have it there to view. I'm still saving my receipts, but I'm hoping that maybe eventually I won't have to do that part either.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to save the receipts at least for, until you feel fully comfortable with it. And even maybe, beyond that, it's just good to have those for record keeping purposes. But
yeah,
I'm curious, would you have an estimate of how long it's going to take you this year with Playground to clean up your books?
Oh, I don't think it'll take very long at all. Yeah, I would say we should be able to get it all done within a weekend or, 2 weekends. I don't think it will take very long because it's all on here already for me. And so all I got to do is I've already kind of took a look at a revenue report, just to see where I was at on monies. And I like that. It was simple. That took me about 5 minutes to punch in the numbers and what I wanted, and it was out.
And you can also always come here to the expense overview section and download all of these expenses. So you'll just say, I want to export the visible columns. And you can download this all into an Excel, and you'll have all the history of the amount you spent, category, the merchant you bought it at, and the date. And you can easily see here, for those who are wondering, the receipts. It'll tell you if you have this uploaded or not. If you don't see this column, all you have to do is go to this, toggle. You can just add in any columns you might want. And that way you can easily see if you've uploaded the receipts or not for each expense.
I know
so Tammy, we're excited. As you get into it, you got to keep us posted on how long it's taken.
I will. I also found the feature for my parents when they wanted to know, how much money did I give you over the year? It was easy to say, hey, go back into Playground, look at this. It'll tell you how much money you spent,
Yeah,
so I like that feature too.
Right here, you can just generate a statement from all time or for this year. Makes it easy for you to see how much families have paid you in tuition.
Yeah.
And just to, give those who are wondering an idea, I can just set this to the past 2 months, click generate. You can also notify the parents, the guardians of the statement is being made. And now I have this document automatically made for my program for my parents in the click of a couple buttons.
Would that work for like end of year tax purposes for them? If
So
we
yeah, and parents can do this on their own. They'll come here
Yeah.
and they'll put in the date range.
Well, dang, that's awesome.
I know, that's what I thought too, Tiffany, because that was a kind of a pain in the rear to have to figure everybody's amounts at the end of the year. I kept it on a spreadsheet, so I knew, but you still had to do it, This way, I walked a couple of parents through it. They wanted to know how to do it. I walked them through it, and they said, oh, well, that's simple. I said, exactly. That's what we want. Simple.
And they could see here, you can just easily generate the report, and it's, simple, done for them, very easy.
Yeah.
Awesome, very exciting. So it sounds like we're getting the usage of the, people are paying you through Playground, and now you're tracking your expenses through Playground. You're gonna have a full financial picture in Playground, which is the goal.
Yeah. That's, I can't wait to see it, and not have to work at it so hard to get it figured out.
Yeah, I mean, this industry with technology is changing so rapidly at, there's so many new innovations coming out, and the way, you used to run your business maybe 20 years ago, 5 years ago even, is so different than the way it needs to be run and could be run in the future.
Yes. Yes. And you know, I look at it and think, if it's gonna give me more time with the kids, then I'm game for trying it. Because
Yep.
I feel like in the last few years, we've had a lot of paperwork to do and a lot of extra things to do. And we're spending less time with the kids because we're doing all this other stuff. I don't know about anybody else, but I don't want to spend every weekend looking at bookwork and that kind of stuff. I want some time for myself too. And so you have to try to figure it out. And this is working so much better for us.
Love to hear that. I mean, it's not, you know, most people I feel like get into the childcare industry out of a love for providing care for children and, you know, out of the passion and not necessarily out of the desire to manage the operations of a childcare business.
Right.
But nonetheless, you're still a business and you need to run your business like one, because otherwise it's going to get very, you know, cause you a lot of headaches.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's where we kind of view ourselves of, we're helping you guys save that time so you can spend that time with the kids and doing exactly what you mentioned, Tammy, which, you know, is giving as much love and care to the children as possible.
And that was one of my reasons for picking Playground, was because it did track expenses. Some of them don't track expenses. I said, what good is that to us? That's
Yep.
not any good.
Mhm.
Awesome. Happy to hear it. And so this kind of takes me into, we have you know, variety of experiences in here. If we could brainstorm together what our dream expense management software looks like, you know, what would that software do? What would it look like? What's missing in the puzzle?
Remind me, Benny, if payments are submitted online through there, can that be automatically put on the expense card?
No, so you would need to add it into the card.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, but I think that would be a dream.
So automatically taking a portion of tuition and putting it into your card.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I like that a lot. One thing we were hearing in the past.
That would help me forget, and that would help me to remember, oh, hey, I don't have to load that card with some money on it. I would already have it on there. That would be great. Because I have several that use the automatic paying, which they like. Some of them like real well. And
Tammy, I want to bring
so-
your attention to this small feature here in expenses, where you can go to manage balance and you can add automatic deposits. So this is automatically going to deposit a certain amount of funding into your card once you go below a certain amount. So you'll say every time your card falls below, for example, $250, you want to recharge your balance with another $1,000. And that way, anytime you go to the store and your balance drops below that $250, it's going to automatically pull from that bank account that you have connected another $1,000 into your Playground card. The goal there is to kind of help you avoid that lapse. Yeah. Any other ideas? We were hearing from people in the past couple of sessions, subcategories, because right now we offer categories and they're pretty much the Schedule C categories. But if you could break down your categories into individual line items of, for example, on on food supplies, how much you spent on milk versus bread versus etc. Each item, and that way you can see you're spending category by category and kind of help you with budgeting as well. That's something I think could be pretty cool.
I haven't dove into the expense stuff yet. So this could be something that's already happening. But if you upload a receipt, is there a way to say, okay, this is a time space item, this is just right off the receipt? Like click which items on the receipt?
No, that could be awesome to have an interactive receipt. We don't have that currently, but
something that allows you to like, okay, these two things go to 100%, this one goes to,
on an individual receipt.
or what, I guess I don't know. Like,
yeah, so look, if you add an expense in, you're able to say this is purely a business expense, assuming the whole receipt is a business expense, or you could use a time space, you could make it a time space, or you could use it % business use.
So I guess what would be cool is if you could look at a receipt and some of it could be the same receipt. Some of it could be business 100% and some could be time space or a shared expense. So that
Yeah.
way, yeah.
What we've
Is
seen
that-
providers do in the past is they'll highlight the receipt and they'll highlight what is a business expense,
Mhm.
and they'll upload that image in and they'll just classify it as a percent business use. So imagine you go to the store, you bought 10 things and $100 of items, and $40 were for business expenses. You'll say this was 40% business related, and you'll just highlight those items on your receipt.
Okay. So you can put 2 categories on one receipt.
Yeah, I mean, you could have a mixed receipt. You would just,
Okay.
for your bookkeeping, it's probably good to know on your end what was for your business and what was for personal.
Okay.
You would just classify that as a percent business use receipt
Okay.
or classification. And you would have to add what percentage of that expense was business related.
Benny, I think one thing that has helped me is like if I go to the store, in the past I always just all the groceries went in one cart,
Mhm.
and then I would try to figure out at the end of the year, oh, this was milk, or this was their milk, this was our milk, whatever. Now when I go to the grocery store, I take 2 cards and one is totally nothing but business expense. So then when I use my spin card, that is all business. The other part is personal that I use.
Yep.
I pay with a different card for that stuff. So that has helped me a bunch.
That's great. I mean, ideally, you want to keep things as separate as possible. It just always makes your life easier when it comes to taxes. So that's a great strategy. Yeah, and so we have a nice makeup. I mean, we have 3 providers, and we have Jacqueline or Rebecca and Jacqueline, but Rebecca is here also. And so Rebecca, you work with the providers, and I'm curious, our ultimate goal with these sessions is to get people to join and kind of, get moving on this, because the longer you wait, the more of a headache you're gonna have. We're already 2 months into the year. Waiting another 6 months is gonna make it a much bigger headache. So I'd love to brainstorm with all of you, and Rebecca especially. How can we get more family childcare providers to show up and take ownership over their finances and kind of make their life easier?
Yeah, I mean, I think I loved, Tammy's testimonial of sharing that kind of piece. It's real life of how this works and how it has really kind of saved that. I think that's important to share. I know we're working to get an Iowa one, kind of scheduled for our providers here. I think it's just so scary for programs to kind of like wrap their head around something new and taxes and all of it. It's a lot. It's a lot. So, whatever we can do to kind of support them and support you guys. I mean, that's why we're here in Iowa doing the work that we do. So yeah, we want to round up all of our folks and get them, on board. And we see the expense tracking as such a valuable thing. I think it's just been real scary to get to that next step.
Yep. I mean, like I said before, building that habit is not easy, but it's in the long term, it's been super helpful. So our goal is to get people to really embrace it, because we know ultimately this is going to save them hours of work and tons of headaches when it comes around to their taxes. Yeah, Tiffany said we should have Playground come in during the expense session of all our kin. We'd be happy to do that if you could.
I'm taking that currently, and even being a provider for 15 years and doing centers before that, I'm learning so much in that class. And I think that would be a good way to hit those people that are in that business mode. Be like, hey, this is an easier way to do this. Oh, they'll jump right on board.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love it if you could potentially intro us to someone that you're interacting with there. We'd be happy to, partner in providing that knowledge and like a walkthrough similar to this for that group.
Okay.
Yeah, very exciting. Yeah, and that's kind of all I had prepared. If anyone has any questions that they want to take a deeper dive into Playground specifically, I'm happy to look at that now. Rebecca, I know Courtney's gonna reach out to you. She sent that link in the chat for you to book time with her to chat more. But wanted to make a big thank you to Tammy for sharing your wonderful experience. And we're so happy to hear that you are actively using our expense management features and, seeing the benefit. You're on mute, but I'm assuming it's a thing. I could read your lips for a little bit.
Yes, thank you very much for having me on. I do love it. It's made my life a lot easier. So, and that's important. One thing I would say that the only thing with Playground that I wish could happen is we could get the food program situated so that I wasn't having to do that in two different spots.
Totally.
I love to have my parents know what they've had to eat, but then I also have to do it for the food program and keep track of it there. And I wish I could just do it one time and be done. So that's
Yeah, which
something
food sponsor are you working with?
I work with out of Iowa State University Extension. A
Okay.
gal out of there. And so I would love to see that become part of.
Oh. Sorry about that. Yeah, we are also very eager to get that going. I want to take that note down, and maybe you can help us also connect with someone there, because we've been diligently working on the meal plan. I think that's a great thought, to have everything truly centralized into one spot.
Yes.
And you said that was the Iowa
State University Extension and Outreach is who I work with. There's so many of them. That's, I think, maybe probably part of the problem.
Yep.
Yeah,
Awesome.
there's
Well,
like
I took that note
37,
down.
37 home sponsors in Iowa. So they're all doing something a little bit different. I mean, same requirements, but they all have the difference. So that is a little bit of the tricky part, Tammy, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to chat more about that, because there's plenty of thoughts from our end on what we want that to look like as well. But thank you very much, Tammy. Thank you everybody for joining. If you ever have any questions or want to learn more about Playground, we're very easily accessible. You can, scan this screen. I hope you guys can see my screen, right? Yeah.
Yes.
You can scan this QR code or just email me back. Very easily accessible. And we're always here to, be your partner in success.
I have a quick question about Playground in general, if you
Yeah.
can. I did the billing for my parents last week for the first time. And mine is hourly, so I have to approve everything. Is there a way to make it so they don't get a notification every time I approve something?
Every
Because
time
they
you
were getting lots of notifications.
Yeah, let me talk with my team about that.
Okay.
Because I don't know off the top of my head specifically. Let me just see if there's a notification setting. Payment, successful payment. Let me talk with my team about that. And I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay. Well, I had asked Courtney that when we met on Monday or Tuesday. So she has that in her queue too, I think.
Okay, so just how to turn off the notifications for parents when you approve a expense.
Yes, because since I do it daily, they get like 5 or 6 in a row, depending on how many kids they have. So
Awesome, makes
okay.
sense.
Right.
I will make sure that Tiffany gets sorry, not Tiffany, Courtney, you are Tiffany.
Okay.
Courtney gets that to you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you again, Tammy, for joining us, and Jennifer. And Jennifer's gone. Okay, take
All
care,
right, thank
everyone.
you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Tammy. Really appreciate having you here. You're on mute.